We will be in the room in a second, y'all. We have Kimmi on the live today. We'll have a really great Sunday. Talking about Love Marriage Huntsville. So, we are here. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies, are we ready to pop on? I think we're waiting for, okay. I want to be sure that we are all here because, yes, we are all here for the Sunday little interview. Hello, ladies. How everybody doing today?
Hey. Doing well.
Good.
What's going on?
Happy Sunday.
I know, right? It's a whole little Sunday. So we have someone that we've been waiting for like 2 weeks to bring on to talk to from Love Marriage Huntsville. We're going to bring in the wonderful, our favorite. Okay, we can say that our favorite right now. Okay, Miss Kimmi.
Hey, everybody.
You gotta do the crowd swell, yes.
How y'all doing?
We are great. How are you doing?
I'm magnificent.
So the premiere was last night. Were you anticipating, how well it did last night?
From what I hear so far, we did really well. We trended up to, I think, number 5. The producers were pleased. They sent out a nice little hello, how you doing? It went well. As far as I know, Owen was pleased. So I think last night was a success.
Awesome.
It was to me, for sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say what matters is was it a success to you all? That's what matters,
yes.
Not to us.
It was.
Yes.
It was
I
really
miss
good
you
premiere.
guys. So absolutely.
I was about to say, we're just happy to be here at this point. It's really like we're just happy everybody's back.
You're so funny, right? It's been a minute. And this has been like a really long one too, because of COVID. We filmed, we took a break, we filmed again, we took like a 4-month break, we came back. It seems like we've been filming forever. It really does. Seems like we've been filming forever.
All summer. So we have a couple of games to play that we'll get into the interview part. So the first game we have is called Move In With, Move Around With, or Move On From. So who would you want to be around forever? Who would you not mind, hanging around with a little bit? And who would you want to just move on from and, not really have to deal with that much? And it just happens to be people from the cast. And, it's all fictional, so it's fictional. Right. So, Destiny, Letitia, and Mel.
So moving with,
you will be around them all the time. You don't mind that, or move around with. It's a little bit, we can have some fun together, or move on from because you just want to, just.
Y'all know y'all wrong for that. Can it be? Y'all can't add no more people in there.
Well, we haven't met the new person from the show yet, so we could add, Miss Wanda. We could add. You want to add Miss, or.
Yeah, how about we can't add no more people in there? Just them 3? It's y'all's game, so y'all tell me.
Well, yeah, just them 3. You want to do 3 more people?
Okay, they keep it tough, girl. Okay, so moving with, I would probably say Destiny. Move around with, I would say Melody. Move on from would be Tisha at the moment.
Okay, now we think we can get that. So, well, that was easier than I thought it would be. So, but who would you have wanted to substitute with? Maybe would you want to? If it was maybe Martell and Marceau and LeBerick.
If I had to pick through those 3 guys,
yeah,
Even worse.
I wouldn't move in with any of them.
Right.
I wouldn't move in with.
Will they all be move on
from is probably the only one I can pick, and that would be LeBerick actually.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, well let's go on to our second one. What's going to call One Gotta Go. So you're going to an event. You have to have yourself style. A hairstylist, a wardrobe stylist, a makeup artist. So if one of these 3 people had to do your hair, do your outfit, or do your makeup, which one would you not want to do it at all? And you would go to this event without that one thing.
Okay.
Mel will be your hairstylist. Wanda will be your wardrobe stylist, and Tisha will be your makeup artist. If you had to get rid of one of them as that person to style you for an event,
Ah,
who you
wrong for
prefer
y'all
not to
know y'all
style
wrong.
you?
You wrong for
Like,
both of
I
these.
can't even tell y'all how wrong y'all are for all of this.
It's
So out of
still
these three, I have to pick one that I just go without. If that person
yes.
is okay.
Was your stylist for this for an event?
I'm gonna say wardrobe Wanda.
I would
That's
agree.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yeah.
just style yourself. So I would agree. I was trying to find a different photo of something else you had on, but I just, I said maybe this is the
This
one.
is perfect.
It was.
She said this is
Very
perfect. Correct.
Definitely
I think you did a very good job on all of them.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And our last little part is just about this or that. Okay. Which one would you prefer? Would you prefer this situation or that situation?
Okay.
And the two options happen to be, moving into different spaces, with the realty and everything. Would you prefer to have your husband's family live next door to you forever, or one of his exes live next door to you for 5 years? This or that, would you prefer? The family forever, or an ex, any ex of your choosing, living next door for 5 years?
So that's a toughie. I'm
Dang.
gonna say my husband's family forever.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a toughie. That's probably harder than all the games put together right now.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah,
would
that was a
make
toughie.
it, because it could be anybody. So that's a great thing too. So let's get into our questions that we have, because we have a few. We want to get it all dumped in an hour. Our first question is: we saw Own's background of how the show started, kind of how Mel and Martell came into the show. But how did you actually get booked on the show, and what made you decide to even stay on the show after the first season?
Well, we were friends. We met Mel and Martell. Well, I met Mel and Martell in 2014. Actually, Martell went to school with my husband. They played football at Alabama A&M. So they knew each other. I just didn't know them. And when they did their grand opening for Houghton Holt, they invited us to the ribbon cutting. And we went to that. And that's when I met them in 2014. So we started hanging around, taking vacations together and just doing regular friend stuff. And then we started talking about revitalizing North Huntsville. And we came up with the whole comeback group and all of that kind of thing. And one day we went to look at the 47 acres, and Melody said, just out the blue, hey, how about we do a TV show, reality show? And we were like, girl, we are not interesting. Like, no, absolutely not. But she just kept pushing it. That it was something she wanted to do, and that she had actually talked to Martell often about it prior to even bringing it to us. And so she had a couple of people in tow regarding film crews to do sizzle reels and things like that. And so she paid for all of that. And we did a couple of sizzle reels with a couple of companies, actually, that she spearheaded and that she did. And she went to Carlos and she had a meeting with Carlos, and everything that they've said is 100% accurate as far as he put her on the back burner for a minute. The original concept I think she took to them was just her and her husband, though, Houghton Holt. And he said an ensemble works better. And so that's when she brought up the other people, which was us. So he had to interview us. Like, they called us and we had to do interviews, and they liked this.
I think that's why y'all show is definitely one of my favorites. Everything just seems so, y'all just seem like regular people. That's what I like. It doesn't seem like, y'all have done so much reality TV show research and then you pop on being a character. Y'all are super real. Correct. So my question was this your first time on TV? And what was your hardest part about filming your first season?
Yes, it's my first time on TV. And I guess the hardest part for me, I'm gonna tell you something. To be honest, first season really wasn't that hard. Like, first season to me wasn't very difficult, other than kind of being intrusive. you know, in your house and, you know, in your business and that kind of thing. But the first season, in all honesty, I felt like it was a lot more organic, much like you said, because all of us had no real knowledge of reality. I think the more well-versed we get in it, the more we kind of act up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of gets a little more difficult. But for me, the first season was actually pretty simple. I was like, y'all want to pay me to be me? Okay. I was like, you know, I can do that. Like, that's simple for me. So the first season wasn't that bad. I would say, in all honesty, most of these conversations that we would have with people in interviews, I didn't really have regrets until it came to the part where Tisha and I started having differences. And that's where my at the moment would be my biggest regret at the moment, is that Tisha and I have differences of opinion.
I know that you're a nurse and you were considering leaving the nursing field and kind of going into real estate. And I wanted to know if you've made that change, and also, if not, whether you did or didn't, how has COVID been for you? Like, has it affected you on either side?
So my thing is, I've been a registered nurse by trade for so long that my goal was to back out of nursing. And just like the show said, actually, I was turned in my resignation year before last. My December was supposed to be my last. And my boss asked me to stay, you know, for another year. And he would kind of do some of the things that I thought the facility was lacking in order to be successful and serve the community like we were supposed to be doing. So I did decide to stay after he asked me that. And sure enough, as the time came, because I gave him till June of 2020. I turned it in. I was supposed to stop December of 2019. I gave him till June of 2020, and COVID was here. So, you know, once that happened, I just felt obligated. Like, it just seemed like, how can you like quit right now? So, you know, I stayed during that time because it just seemed like that was the right thing to do. In much of my interviews and conversation, a lot of me stopping was Jalen getting finished with school, because I pay for his school. And I didn't want to have to put that burden on my husband or on a student loan or any other measure. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Yes. So if in fact real estate didn't pop off, then, you know, I didn't really have a lot of bills that I would be leaving behind, you know. And they played on TV that Maurice, he's always been open to helping me with that. But as an adult, I felt like that wasn't something that he agreed to take on by dating me. So I wanted to wait. So we're still having conversation about all of that part in regards to nursing and real estate. Since things have settled down with COVID, it's a priority conversation for me.
Okay. So my question is, because of your ability to be so level-headed, I mean, we saw that. We saw your mind working in this very logical way last night. And for some reason, everybody around you seems to be, you know, lost by this logic. So my question is, have you always been that way? Do you find you're always kind of like the voice of reason in the group?
I've been the voice of reason in most groups because I really like to try to make sure I have all the information before I make a decision or before I open my mouth. The one thing that hasn't always been me is calm. That has not always been me. That's not my trademark at all. However, as a career professional, I had to learn that in order to move up the scale, I had to temper some of the stuff that came out of my mouth, because I'm a really good nurse. Like, I'm a really good nurse. And so I would go to work with that opinion. Like, I could pop off and say what I want. What you gonna do? You gonna fire me? You're not gonna fire me. And that was the mindset that I would have, but I wasn't advancing in my career. And one of my mentors and I had a conversation, and we had this as part of the conversation. And I realized it was holding me back. So as good a nurse as I was, it wasn't advancing me. So I was just a nurse, you know, and literally after I was able to kind of think through my thought before it came out, it was bounds and leaps from there, like as far as my professional career. It was extremely helpful in my professional career. I'm still working on my friends because sometimes I just feel like you should get what you should get. So sometimes it comes out the way it used to come out. So no, the delivery has gotten better. The delivery has gotten better, but I've pretty much always been the person that likes to hear as much of both sides before I render a decision.
That's a word. I feel like I've had to do that on YouTube as well. Like just trying to, pivot and shift. Even though you're supposed to be getting paid to be yourself, there's only so much of that people can handle on here. So.
Correct. You're 100% correct. And we have that conversation often, even in our home, because sometimes Maurice will say, well, you didn't say everything. Like you're not being Kimmi all the way. And I'm like, people say they like all of Kimmi until they get all of Kimmi. And so I just think as an adult, you have to be able to know when's a good time for that delivery. And even if you say something untoward, you need to know when to reel it back, and you need to know when to say, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. Sometimes you mean it that way. Sometimes
we get it both ways.
Sometimes you mean it that way.
So with the show going on, which friendship or relationship do you feel like has changed the most? Either you've gotten closer to someone or you've gotten further away from how you used to be in the beginning. Which do you think has happened the most, over the season?
I would say every lady here. Literally every lady here. Because y'all saw my first encounter with Destiny wasn't that great. And Destiny's a cool ass chick. Destiny's like, she's cool. She's cool. So that's just way different from, what y'all originally saw. And as far as Melody and I, when we first became friends, it wasn't so much that we didn't like each other. We were just kind of oil and vinegar a little bit. We just kind of had different processes about ourselves. And we both were pretty aggressive verbally. So if you said something to me, I'm going to say something back, and then we're just going to kind of go back and forth. And my normal person is just to not fuck with you. I mean, that's my normal person. Just like, okay, like I don't want to be angry and fighting. So we just won't go over there. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where we were when the show started. And because of that, they forced us to have some conversations that we normally, I wouldn't have had. And that's just real talk. Like the person that I am, I would have never had some of the conversations that they made me have, where we were able to kind of pound out some of the things that were causing us differences. One of which was I typically didn't hear her side of the story. I mean, with all things given in the group, I just typically didn't hear her side of the story. And then of course you've seen with Tisha. Tisha and I have always been really cool. And we have some differences that we got to work out right now. So all the ladies have had a significant difference from the beginning to right now for me.
So for me, I'm wondering, do you watch the TV show, considering that you've already have lived it?
Oh, absolutely, honey. I'll be looking forward to that show. Absolutely. That thing, because it's a whole show to us, just like y'all. We don't see the edited version. They don't give it to us early. We don't get it at 6 o'clock and y'all get it at 8 o'clock. We see it when you see it. And it's a whole TV show. And I wait for the next 7 days, just like y'all wait for the next 7 days. I do. So I watch it every Saturday.
I have an additional question. Elena wants to know what's your zodiac sign, and I'm asking because I want to know as well.
Me too.
Oh, I'm Aquarius.
Aquarius, okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, come on with my earth signs. Yes.
I'm Aquarius. So, and I like in the month of February, usually on my social media, I'll post different traits of Aquarians so that people can kind of like look at it and be like, now that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like just kind of, if you know how Aquarians move and function and think, it starts to make sense to you.
Okay. You've been on the show. This is going on your third season with you being on the show. You say you watched the show. So what scenes have stuck out to you the most as you were experiencing it, as you were watching it? What were the ones that probably made you even cringe the most?
Of course, I'm going to say my wedding stuck out the most. It was surreal to be able to see yourself get married on national TV. It was, and I thought it was gorgeous. They literally couldn't have planned it better if they tried. Because we had already, of course, planned to be married. We started filming in 2018, so we had already had the wedding plans already in the books. But it rained something terrible. Like it rained something terrible that particular day. And I've never been married before, never had married advice. And I cried because I was like, God, this must be terrible. And people were like, no, it's a good thing when it rains on your wedding day and this, that, and the other. And of course, when the wedding actually started, it stopped raining and the rainbow came out, the sun came out, and it just couldn't have been a prettier day, period. It couldn't have been a prettier day. So of course, I'm gonna say that stands out for me. It was one of the happiest, other than my son being born, probably happiest day of my life. And then one that made me cringe is probably gonna be, maybe Melody tossing that glass around the room, because that surprised me. That caught me by surprise.
Okay.
That caught me by surprise. I guess coupled with the fact that the rumors of Martell were true. So when she validated that the rumors were true and that glass popped across the room, because we all see the same stuff, you know, right. And I don't know if y'all watched from the beginning or not, but in season one of the conversations she had with me was me kind of reaching out to her when she started going through these issues. And I felt like because we weren't that close, me reaching out was kind of like nosy. Like if we're not that close where we talk weekly or daily, how do I look like to say, oh girl, I saw this on, social media. How you doing? Mm-hmm. To me, that feels nosy. Doesn't feel very genuine. And so still, we're not besties. But we get along way better, so much better at this point. And so when she validated that for me directly, that was a surprise. That was a cringeful moment because I'm like, we're on TV. Like, so if in fact, you were doing that before TV started, it seemed like maybe you stopped because we're on TV. So that was cringeworthy to me. That was cringeworthy. I felt awful for Melody. I felt awful.
Yeah, it was really tough to watch. And I've been watching it since the very beginning. So I've been, through all of the things that have happened. And you could tell it was about to be war when she came in the leather. Like she had on leather shorts. Was like, I don't know why y'all playing with me today.
Right. I'm surprised she ain't have her Vaseline in the car. Okay.
It was very frustrating. Let me just say this to the comments. I know I said Earth, I meant air. I'm also an air sign. Aquarius, Libras, Geminis. I'm a Gemini. So I get the Aquarius sign. That was just I misspoke. I'm so very sorry for everybody in the comments that's going off about it. My bad. But my question, going back to the wedding. So it's crazy that you brought that up because I really wanted to know, like, how did you and Maurice meet and the fall in love situation? Because we've seen y'all after all of that, right. With him getting on his feet, with his career and, with y'all get married and moving in. But what was it like before?
It's all I've been knowing him for. It's just that whole 7-year date thing. It feel like we've been together like 100 years. But my girlfriend, Patricia introduced us, and we started hanging out easily because I liked real estate and I wanted to get involved in investment properties. And most of what has played out on television is 100% accurate. He had filed for divorce from his ex-wife in Michigan at the time. And when he moved here, I want to say he had like 2 months or so left on his waiting period, because I think it's 6 months in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when I was introduced to him. And so we, it was here and there. He was doing everything. in Huntsville when he first got here. So that wasn't as appealing to me, quite frankly. And just like all the things have said, I'm going to leave you alone and let you get that out your system. Even when his brother first asked about meeting him, hold on, something popped up on my screen. Uh-oh. Cancel that. We were about to scan my computer. Even when his brother first mentioned, I want you to meet, because his older brother, Mark, that did the social media with his ex-wife, he was married to my friend Patricia when they introduced us together. His brother asked me to meet him, and Patricia asked me to meet him. So even when they did the social media, I was like, come on, bro, stop that. But his brother introduced me, and his Patricia introduced me. And I said to his brother at the time, because he told me he was in the process of getting divorced, He told me all of that. And I said, well, he needs some time. Everybody needs some time after they get divorced to kind of get their mind right. He was like, no, y'all are just alike. I just want you to meet him, and all this kind of stuff. And so it was 2 months left on his waiting period. I've never said a different story than that. It just is what it is. However, we started dating probably about a year after that. It was 2011 when we actually started dating. And we've been together ever since. Like, I adore him. Like, he's just a sweet, sweet guy. He's a sweet guy. He has his moments when we disagree and we fuss or bicker or what have you. But at the end of the day, he and his family received me in a way that I hadn't necessarily felt received in my life. Because as a child, I was raised as Seventh-day Adventist, and they're extremely strict, extremely, in regards to a lot of things you can do and don't do. And so I was kind of like the black sheep of my family because I just didn't agree with everything that they did. And so I always felt like I was loved on condition, if that makes any sense. And his family they didn't make me feel that way. They didn't make me feel that way. And so I loved him a lot. I mean, we just kind of bonded, and I know he cares for me, like at his core, at his core.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the guys on the show. Like, you could tell he probably doesn't spend as much time with Marceau and Martell because it's like, don't let it rub off on you. Don't let it rub off. Because I see it. You know what I'm saying?
No, but let me tell you, really, when he first moved here, he was all about that life. And actually, some of our other friends would be like, don't hang around Maurice. Like, get your husband from Maurice. Because he was a brand new single guy.
Right.
So he wanted to go out to clubs. He wanted to hang out all night. And he was taking Marceau and them out to these clubs. And they were married. So, their wives were like, listen, you don't need to hang with that single fella. You're not single. So when he first got here, it was completely the other way around. Like, they were trying to keep their husbands away from him.
Right.
Because he was about that life.
And now he's like the really like the best husband on the show, for real. Yeah. Because I'll just say it. Lord.
But everybody always told me that even in his marriage, that's the kind of guy he was. I mean, his dad and I are extremely cool. We talk on the phone. His dad says the same thing. Like, you got a good one. He was like, I wish I could have been like, the one that you got. He was like, you got a good one. So in his marriage, people always said the same thing about his character. You know what I'm saying? He was a deacon in the church and everything, girl.
That does not surprise me. I definitely feel like that was our understanding of the Kiowa situation, which is why it was so frustrating as a viewer, because it was like, girl, didn't you dog that man out after he was a good husband and everything? Like, let it go.
Right.
Yeah, it was tough. And also you kind of like want to keep the waters smooth as best you can. And he's that guy. He didn't want to, say something that was going to ruffle feathers. He didn't want to, make anybody look bad. He didn't want to do any of those things. And so we just kind of, follow his lead to make sure that we do the best we can in, favor of Monster.
So when y'all have not moved past all of that, you get along with the family and everything. Does Maurice still really want to move on the land with the Scotts, with the whole family, or does he kind of get why you don't want to live there, even if y'all have property there? Or have y'all talked about that anymore?
It's both. He loves his brother. He would move in with his brother right now. We tease on TV all the time, but they are BFFs. They are for real best friends. For real best friends. They talk every day. They do stuff every day, business ventures. So he absolutely wants to live over there. However, he loves me and he understands the position that I'm in right now as well. So we're trying to see how we can kind of, meet in the middle somewhere. He absolutely wants to live there with his family, 100%.
So you were speaking of keeping water smooth. So being that teaches your sister-in-law on the show, do you find yourself sometimes taking it easy or not being as transparent because of his family?
Because of his family?
Because
I think there's some validity to your question, but it's because of Tisha. I love her. Like, I absolutely love her. And it's frustrating that I can't get through to her right now. It's extremely frustrating. I want to not, it's not so much not being transparent, because I think I say what I feel about, I'm confused where the problem is. Right. I think I just say it with kid gloves sometimes.
Yeah, and I have to commend you, because last night, that was probably my favorite part of the show. When you talked to her, it wasn't an argument. Even when you talked to her family, it was very much just like, okay, but what about this? Okay, but this. And everything was logical.
Because nobody seems to want to talk about the other side. I don't really understand it. That's part of my frustration. In all fairness, that's a huge part of my frustration. So
I have a kind of like, it's about not your family, your kids, Monster being your stepchild. I want to know how the relationship is with Jalen and Monster now that he's living with you guys. Mm-hmm. And, they have such a large age gap between the two. So I wanted to know more about their relationship.
They've always been super cool. Monster started spending summers here, 4 or 5 years ago, easy. And they love each other. Like, they love each other, because Jalen was the only child. So he didn't have like a baby brother, somebody to kick around, somebody to go get the juice out the refrigerator or something like that. So when Monster would go home in the wintertime, he would Jalen, when's Monster coming back? When Monster coming back? He would worry us to death. And then when Monster got back, he'd be in his room playing games with the doors closed. And I'd be like, you've been worrying us about Monster, and now you don't even talk to him. I mean, he treats him like a genuine little brother. The only difference right now is that Jalen works every day, all the time. So they don't spend that much time together now. But initially, when he would come in the summer, they would be besties for about a week. And then he was like done with his little brother. He was done with his little brother after that. When Jalen first started working at Black, I want to say maybe a month in, 3 or 4 weeks in, he came to me and he said, Monster left this note under my door. And he slid a note under Jalen's door. And it asked him, could he have a brother day if he didn't have to go to work today? And it's adorable.
That's so sweet.
Because they're like two of the same little kids. They're both big-hearted little kids, and they're mild-mannered little kids. Jalen was Monster, like, as a kid. So I kept the note. Like, I keep certain things. When I first met Monster, it's maybe 5, 6, maybe. No, 5. He's maybe 5. And Maurice had brought him over a couple times to play with Jalen, and I made dinner. So this one particular day, Maurice brought him over, and he said, well, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He said, well, Monster wanted to come and say hi. I was like, okay. So they came over, and when I went to the door, he literally couldn't get in the door fast enough. And he was like, Kimmi, I brought something for you. And I was like, what you bring? So he reached in his pocket, and he pulled out some change. And it was maybe 78, 68 cents in change. And he gave it to me. And I said, oh, that's so sweet. What is this for? And he said, it's all my money because I love you. And I was like,
I can't take it.
and I literally have the same 78 cents on my dresser in my keepsake box with the letter that he slid under Jalen's door. He's an adorable kid. Like literally when we first met and they were kind of still going through their thing, and I would tell Maurice all the time, I would say, listen, babe, I don't know what y'all are going through, but this kid, he got everything he's supposed to be getting. He's like a sweet kid. He's a sweet kid. He's a sweet kid.
You love to hear it. With that being said, how are things with Kiowa?
We're better than we were. We're much better than we were. And that's going to take time because it took time to tear down. You know, it took time to tear down. And even though we weren't in the best place, the show made it worse because it made her feel poorly. So then she kind of lashed out at me. And I just didn't do anything. Like I didn't do anything at all. And so now we're on better footing. We're on better footing. And hopefully over time it gets even better. It's definitely not where it was. 100% not where it was.
Is it still a possibility that she may be moving to Huntsville?
It's still a possibility. It sure is.
Okay.
Sure is. She actually likes Huntsville. It's not just based on the premise that, you know, Monster is here. She actually likes the area, you know, as far as Huntsville is concerned.
Well, I'm glad y'all are in a better place.
Right.
We're shifting gears a little bit about couples.
Keep hope alive.
It's in God's hands now. So with the new couple on the show who we have not seen yet, do you have any thoughts on them yet, or give us any insight about how they are on the show this season?
You know, new people always have a way of having to prove themselves to get into a solidified group. And this isn't just a solidified reality group. We've been friends like since 2014. We've been friends for a long time. And I believe Mel knows her from working on the Chamber of Commerce down here. I don't know her. It's my famous line, I guess. So I just got to kind of...
But the chicken's good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let it go.
it was great. It was great. It was great. But so we're just filling them out still. We're filling them out still. I think the guys knew of Lewis, who is the husband. Once again, it's a sports thing. So I think the guys knew who he was. We had met them a couple times at football games because their kids are about the same age as Monster. So, you know, I have seen them in passing at football games, like how you doing, how kids, and that kind of thing. So it remains to be seen.
Can't wait to see it. So speaking of the chicken, Destiny let us know this episode that you and her had met up. So how was that conversation, since we really didn't get to see a lot of it? And what is your relationship with Destiny since then?
Destiny and I have gotten to a much better place as well. Like I said at the onset, I think she's a really cool chick. A lot of it was just our dispositions as people. You know, I just didn't care for how she approached me, and she didn't care for what I said to LB at the time. And so it got us off to a bad start as far as first impressions go. And that conversation we had was really kind of like a revisit of the girls' trip, where we said we're just kind of squashing this thing and, you know, letting it go. And we both wanted to say to each other, we're going to do just what we said we're going to do, you know, at the end of the day. And so she was giving me some information in regards to her and Mel's conversation, that if we kind of simmered down and actually talked to each other, we would see we had more in common than not. And so that's what that was pretty much. And she literally was like, so what else you want to know about me? And so it was really kind of just getting to know each other a little bit better and wanting everybody to get along. You know, we were talking about Tisha and Mel still getting along. We were talking about me and T. We were talking about, you know, a collective trip. But most of it was really just, we made headway at the girls' retreat, and we wanted to make sure that both of us were still on the same page.
That's good.
Yeah. So now that you're in Destiny, you guys are pretty good. We know with you and Tisha, it's still a bit shaky. Miss Wanda, is it possible we are going to see you guys get in a better place this season?
I don't know. I guess you're just gonna have to watch that part. I don't know. Like, I have a small, Jesus just didn't acquit me for foolishness. He just didn't make me that way. And so any moment that I feel like things are kind of smoothing out, the foolishness just pulls you back. And it's probably me. I'm gonna have to figure out a better way to I don't know the answer to that, honey love.
I appreciate that self-awareness that I don't want to make this shit worse, so I'm just gonna say it's my fault. I appreciate that. So my question is, bringing it to Tisha, why was it so important for you to not choose sides when she and Mel got into it?
One, because I think I had more information, and I think there are times that Tisha participated in making that matter worse. I also felt like they would become friends again at some point. And I don't know how you rationalize me stop talking to you just because you want me to. And then when you become friends, what am I supposed to say? Okay, I'm back. We're good again. Wow. But I believe for me, I had a little bit more information. And I felt like both of them participated. I felt both of them had their own truths. Just like I said, to both of them. They only showed the conversation with Mel, but I had the same conversation with Tisha. I think they both believe what they say in their head. So when Tisha wants Mel to say, you're a liar, I lied, Mel doesn't think she lied.
Right.
And vice versa. When Mel wants Tisha to say, well, that's not the truth, I believe Tisha believes in her head she's not a liar. Mm-hmm. And I needed both of them to see that, because it kept going in a circle. Both of them wanted to take ownership, the other person to be accountable, so to speak. And nobody was really taking the full accountability. Because I personally feel like they both have poured a little fuel on the fire.
Do you think they both were trying to make you choose?
No.
Okay.
Just Tisha.
Basically.
I was about to say that, Jami.
We all see the same thing.
Definitely not you, Kimmi.
We know before that you felt like, even though Martell had made some mistake, that he was still a good guy. But since that, and seeing other things that has happened since that, how are you and Martell like now? Like, do you still feel like he's a good guy, considering all the things that has happened, over the past 3 seasons?
Oh boy, y'all get questions harder and harder. Is these minutes almost up yet? So here's the thing. This is what the dilemma in that statement is. I'm really not a person that backtracks anything I say. That's where I'm going to start. And that's what I believe of the person that I met in 2014. And even to date, with the shit that he has done, mm-hmm. y'all don't see Martell on a regular day when he's in his feelings and he's remorseful for what he's done or said. And Martell, you just got to eat this shit right now. Like, you shoveled it out. Now you got to eat this shit. And that's where we are at this point. Like, you've done this shit. This is what you've done. You've made this bed. And so here we are, that kind of thing. But I've said so many times, like, he was the guy that did all the planning. He was the guy that would see you at the stoplight and he'd be like, hey girl, hey Kimmi, how you doing? I was checking on you, sis. Have a great day. He was texting 6 o'clock in the morning. Good morning, team. How y'all doing? God bless. Everybody have a good day. He was the planner. Y'all, let's go to Nashville for the weekend. I got a limo. I got the hotel. I got comedy tickets. He was that guy. Like, he was that guy. And in my heart, I believe that charming nature of his has been to his demise. Just like me saying he's a nice guy, I think Tisha even said on her last confessional, you know, this is the Martell I think we used to know. I like this 2020 Martell is what she said. And that's because the guy we met, this is a different guy. Like this is a guy that is hurt, embarrassed. I think he's remorseful to some degree of what he's done because he's hurt Mel bad. Like I don't even know the best word is shitty. Like that's the only word I can keep saying over and over. It's unconscionable when you know you're on TV and we've already gone through the issue of infidelity and you like keep going down this infidelity road. It's super shitty.
Right.
My heart hurts for her when I have to think about that. Mm-hmm. But at his core, my statement is my statement. You know,
for you, you still know him. Right, you know him because you know him, so it's like it's more shocking at what he did versus us who don't know him personally. You're like, oh, it's shitty, but you're like, I know him. Correct. It's shocking to me.
Correct. Martell was the one that told us he didn't want to be friends with us if we didn't go to church. He said because we shouldn't be unequally yoked.
Okay, well, one of the followers said that's how sociopaths work, and I feel like,
and that may be true. Like real talk, that may be true. But what I'm saying is, if you talk to the core people who've always known him, just like I said, Tisha just said it on her confessional. She said, "This is the Martell I knew in 2020." Because I mean, the 2020 Martell is the old Martell I used to know. I'm liking this Martell because this TV thing, he was a different person. I was utterly surprised how he's acted, how the things have come to pass. I'm utterly surprised, utterly, and hurt for Melody. Super hurt for Melody.
Mm-hmm. And just like you said, the only way to move on is to eat it. I feel like that's why we keep seeing the same cycle, episode after episode. We don't get to see the Martell that y'all are saying that y'all see in Paris, for example. So I think he's in this cycle over and over again.
And every time something pops up, he pops off. You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. It's a whole cycle because he can't seem to get out of it's your turn to eat it now. You created this bed. Now it's your turn to eat it. And for the life of me, I don't know how many producers decide what gets edited, what gets shown. I said that to him 100 times. Like, you're going to have to take the L on this one. Like, you're just going to have to eat this. And his friends, the guys tell him that. Like, every time something happens, you can't just keep popping off. Like, you did this. You did this, and you can't keep popping off because you're in your feelings. So I'm not sure at what point all of that gets shown, seen, talked about, but every last one of us has had that conversation with him.
So this last episode, we saw that you went to the graduation party and you actually helped out after Marcel had asked you to. I admire you for volunteering to do that because I know for me, I would have been like, no, I am the gift. So what made you, decide to end up helping out at the graduation, knowing that you and Tisha weren't on the best terms?
First of all, y'all saw how long was that scene? About 3 or 4 minutes? Mm-hmm. That man had me over there about 3 hours talking about this party. Originally, just as it aired, it amazes me how I can be talked about and, let me lower my expectations and this, that, and the other thing. And then I'm the first person you call. However, it's not Marceau that feels that way. And he knows that me and T aren't in the best place and that I love her. And so he knew at the end of the day, I would probably agree to do it. He knew that when he called me, because I don't dislike Tisha. I've not done anything I feel that's untoward to her, by intent or non-intent. Like, I just don't. And so I wanted to show him that I'm going to do this for you. Like, I'm gonna do it for you.
Okay. So at the graduation party, you pulled Tisha off to the side. You had a conversation with her. You brought up the fact that Kiowa has said a lot of things about you and nobody really had your back. Did that frustrate you that she did not acknowledge that she didn't support you in that moment?
That moment happened, I want to say maybe 2 years before we started filming. Extremely. And I'm not one to bite my tongue at any point. And so when it happened in Florida, I had words with all of them immediately. And if you ask any of their opinions, they would probably say that's probably the maddest they've ever seen me, like ever, because I don't think it's cool. And I just didn't think it was cool to kind of just sit. You know how some people say to say nothing is like talking about me too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like to not say anything is like talking about me too instead of
You're
shutting
complicit.
it down. Right, right. And for me, I handled it that year when it happened, and I didn't think any more of it. What brought it up this particular time is that once again, when the TV comes on, I keep seeing all this stuff about I'm just a good friend, I'm a great friend, I do this, and I'm a great friend, and I expect that in return. And I wanted to say, like, so listen to what you're saying now, like, hear me out. So that's why it came up. It's really never, it doesn't just keep coming up over the years. I wanted her to be able to see, like, that's not how this works. Like, you keep wanting me to do stuff that you actually don't do. Like, you actually don't do. So I kind of want you to stop saying, like, I'm just this great, 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 great friend, and I'm letting her down, you know, by not doing whatever she needs me to do. But yeah, and it started because of the fact that Marceau had asked me timidly to help. The conversation started because I said to her, how are you relaying these conversations to your family and your husband? Because apparently the information they have is coming from you, and they're coming at me sideways.
Right.
So I was curious. I pulled her to the side because Marceau came to me sideways to say, you know, he wasn't sure if I would help. And I based that on whatever information she's giving him.
Okay. So with that being said, and I know you kind of said that the whole thing with Tisha is like one of your biggest regrets, but outside of that, do you regret anything that is taking place on the show?
There's some conversations, I believe. I guess I don't really know what I could say when I say. Not really. That's probably my biggest one. Like, I'm really okay with talking about most stuff because I like to believe that what I say, and I stand by what I say.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's really much other stuff that I feel like, you know, I regret. I don't like where our friendship is at the moment.
Yeah, the trailer looks rather explosive.
Yeah.
I don't like where our friendship is at the moment.
If you could describe this season and what we could expect, without giving away any spoilers, of course, how could you describe what we're going to get this season?
I think you get to see a little bit of growth in some areas. And I've said this on a couple of interviews. I think you get to see Mel and Martell kind of have to learn how to co-parent and that kind of thing, which is an anomaly actually in reality TV. Most of the time when the divorce comes, the man is gone, like off the TV show. And you just get to see the wife, you know, and her trying to get it figured out and her version of the story and that kind of thing. So I really like the fact that both of them are still on the TV show in regards to seeing that side of life with both of them being here. And so you do get to see some of them having to work that out, you know, at this point. You get to see some frustrations, you know, get to a level of, we just got to get stuff figured out around here, you know, and not just me, in different conversations amongst the group. Because there's a lot of times that we talk about moving on without resolve. And a lot of times if you don't resolve, it just keeps popping back up. Like it'll just keep popping back up. So I think Love and Marriage Huntsville is unique and I like it.
It is.
I like it. I like the males in the storylines. I like the females in the storylines. And so we're going to get to see building on a lot of the stuff from last. And then we get to see the new couple and what they bring to the show, and how they actually fit in or not fit in.
So they're going to be messy. I got you. I read all of this stuff. I got all of this. I see what's going on.
You read pretty well. I watch you pretty regularly. You read pretty well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that was kind of our last question. Does anyone else have any more questions?
Okay. I do. I have one more. Kimmi, I wanted to know your thoughts on Destiny waiting a month to let Melody know that she received a divorce. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, especially after Mel has exposed so much of her life. I wanted to get your thoughts on her waiting an entire month to share her divorce.
So here again, this is probably me and my middle of the road mentality that I have. I see both of their sides. I see Mel's frustration because you were there for me and I want to be there for you, because that's what Mel needed. That's what Mel needed during her divorce. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of start to think egocentrically, because I needed it, my friend must need it too. However, Destiny's saying, I process a little different than you. I needed to be by myself. I needed to be by myself. And so I get both sides, and I'm trying to honestly still kind of figure out if there was some kind of communication that could be had so that either party didn't feel away a month later. But I genuinely get both sides. And I think a lot of it is because I'm a nurse. And there's different ways to do different stuff. Psychologically, different people process differently, period. People's coping mechanisms are just different, And so when Destiny said, I feel you, but I needed that time by myself for me, I actually got that.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay, so I got that. I did.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is like, okay, so will Destiny eventually open up more about things? Because you're on the show, you're a main cast member, yet we only see you discuss Mel's situation and not your own.
I ain't seen the show, girl. I'm saying I can't even answer the question for you. Like, she very well may. Like, she very well may. Like, in some conversations that she has that they film together as friends as they move on. You know what I'm saying?
Has she talked to you in any way about it, or y'all still kind of just like, hey, girl,
Surface.
Right.
Destiny is still. We're still working on us. We have conversations. And so some of those will actually play out. But I believe in this particular question that's her arena to answer.
Okay.
Like, just in all fairness, whether it's on screen or off screen, I think this particular question is hers to answer as to who, with, why, where, and when she's going to, be ready to talk about it.
We hope to get her on our show too to ask her some questions. So we're gonna, we're gonna try to.
I'm sure you'll get her. I'm sure you'll get her.
So we want to thank you so much for being here and being such a great interviewer with us. And we, again, love you on the show. Your honesty and how you're like, you call things as it is, and we need that on shows because you don't want to feel like people are like leaving elephants in rooms and not really, discussing. So we thank you.
Thank you.
We got
it.
Ain't that Jesus?
Okay. Listen. No,
Oh,
huh?
You froze.
Well,
am I froze?
You were.
You're back.
Oh. And then Bondy. So now I was gonna have to pick up and play telephone. Thank you.
Y'all are more than welcome.
So we have your social medias on Twitter and IG is Kimmi_KLS. Her website is also thekimzone.com. So make sure to follow her on social media and go to her website as well. And is there anything you want to promote that's coming up for you, or anything that's going on with you when you're anything?
No, I usually try to get my stuff out. I do have to be a keynote speaker for a Mommy and Me brunch. It's a single mom educational scholarship brunch. Awesome. So look for that on my social media, and that's coming up next Saturday. That's just the life I live. That's like where my core, my heart is. But no, girl, I'm going to work every day, so I'm good.
Well, thank you so much. We hope to have you back sometime later on during the season because it's going to be a long season. I hope we would love to have you back on and talk about the episodes as well.
Especially
So-
after you curse out Wanda J. Bosch.
They probably fire me if I don't say go to Black. Have mercy. How I didn't think go to Black. Go to Black. Come to Huntsville. Go to Black.
Okay.
Black is cool as hell. Like, it's a nice spot. It's North Huntsville. It's relaxed. It's not, it's a nice crowd. The food is really, really good. The vibe is good. So yeah, that's what I want to promote. Black. Make sure you go to Black.
All right.
Promote.
When we come out there,
we should go to Alabama and visit
Well,
Black.
I'm from Alabama, Southeast.
Come on, do a live. Y'all can do a live right in Black.
oh, we will.
We will. That's real.
Right in Black. Too funny.
So we're going to say bye to Kimmi and hope to see her soon.
Thanks, Kim.
All right, bye.
Thank you so much for coming
Y'all
on,
have a good
Kimmi.
weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, she's amazing.
Look, if we didn't love Kimmi before, we love Kimmi even more
love
now.
her even
But I
more.
can't think of anybody else who we all just really like.
Yes,
All-
Yeah.
we have been excited for today for so
Listen.
long. Honey, my internet didn't go out too much. I don't know why. Honey, I gotta call Comcast again. But
Girl, we was ready to.
I'm like, please.
Let me finish that.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So we were happy to have Kimmi. We'll be working on other people too. But y'all know this Thursday our panel was on Necey's channel. It's on Necey's, right? Necey's, so do not.
Oh, here she goes.
Oh, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's on Necey's channel. Yes.
It's on my channel this Thursday.
So y'all make sure y'all come to the Ladies First panel on Necey's channel this week. Go ahead, Jay Lee, you back.
I'm like, girl, I'm just so mad about that. But again, we had a good time. Okay, we have a good time all the time. Make sure to also follow all of us on social media. Okay, follow our IG page, Ladies First Panel. Okay, do not forget to send us emails for advice for this Thursday show. We will keep your name confidential. Okay, but send the email immediately right now. Okay, follow Bondy Blue, Jami ThatsMe. Me, y'all know I got two different names, J Lee's Corner, but also J_Lee's_Corner, and also Necey Dixon on IG, on Twitter, on what else? Y'all on IG, on Twitter, on y'all on Snapchat?
Everything. Snapchat, TikTok,
You know, TikTok, use
anything.
everything. Okay, everything. And we will see y'all on another day for another thing. We're going to go into our Sundays because, again, Potomac is on, so we got to go. Okay?
We gotta run.
So, bye, y'all.